Hi, it's Chris at Epix again. This is the second video in the series to do with our projects module. So the first one was all about how to get a project into the system, how to add jobs, and then generally discussing the project sheet and how the project jobs flow into the overall project. This one is, as promised in that first video, how to import jobs using a spreadsheet file using the project jobs importer instead of manually adding them on the project creation wizard. So we'll pick up this example at the point where we've created the actual project itself. So if you remember from the first video, the screen that we're on now, I've just filled in the project information and the project details have been successfully saved. So I've created a new project called Epix 002. And instead of manually adding my job details using the form here, I'm going to import a file that I've created. Now we do have a button here for downloading a template, which is very useful, and it will send out a spreadsheet file for you, a CSV file which is downloaded here. And when we click on that, that will load up into something like this. Now if I just expand on those headings for you, you can see there are the headings that we require. Now without any additional information, it's very easy to get that wrong. So I have put together a slightly more in-depth template with some descriptions here that give us an idea of the data that we're looking for. So if you're going to be doing this, do get in touch and ask for some help with this or consult this video. What I've done is I provided a description on the second row down here for the sorts of information and where the data comes from for each of the fields. So let's zoom in on this and see what we can find. As we can see, I have already filled this in. So what this is a series of jobs in order. So there's the first job in the list, there's the second, and so on. If you remember from the first video, we put together a job reference that was the project reference with a -01, 02 and so on. So I've created a new project. It's exactly the same jobs, but just for the purposes of demonstrating the import, I've called this Epix 002 and our job numbers are at the end. So all we do, we put those in here. The sequence is the sequence order that you want the jobs to appear in. So again, 1 to 5 in this case. 1 appearing at the top of the list. The job is simply the job description. So this was the description of the job that we typed in when we were doing it manually. Moving on over here now to the right hand side, the contract field. This is the contract reference that you want to upload to, not the contract name. So if we go back to our system here, if I click on the question mark for the contracts that are available, the reference is this in the middle here. So the project's contract, the reference is in capitals Epix-Pro in this case. So you need to check that on your own system to make sure that you get the right one. So back in our template, as you can see, for each of my jobs I've said I want them all on the Epix-Pro contract. Trade is taken from the actual trade description. So again, if we go back to the system, clicking on the question mark here, we can see we've got all the names. So as long as you type those exactly as they appear, those will go to the appropriate trade. So always worth checking that you've got the spelling correct and you've said electrician instead of electrical, let's say. The ETTC is the estimated time to complete the job, so how long you think the individual job will last, and this is done in minutes, so a series of numbers in this column. If I just expand on these two columns slightly so we can see what's in them, this is the date that you want the first attendance for that particular job, and the required date is the date that you want that job to be completed by. Notice the formatting of the date with a time at the end. The priority column is the priority reference. So again, back in our system here, we click on there, it's this to the right hand side. So I've gone with the 12 weeks planned priority, where the reference is 12 week. So again, back in our spreadsheet, you can see I've filled that in as 12 week. You'll notice here that the SOR, code, quantity, description and rate columns are left blank. That's because when we did our example in the previous video, we didn't include an SOR code. I'll be doing another example in just a moment that does include those. So if you're not using them, you can leave them blank. Now, very importantly, you must save this as a CSV file. So obviously using this row here, that has to come out. So what you would normally do is you would remove all this information from there. So just delete that row out, and then you would save this. I'm just going to put this on my desktop for now. I want to call this and then we would choose CSV file, and then we'll save it. And that's okay. So that has now been saved as a CSV file in just this format here. If we now go back to our system, using the import jobs option here where we've got the choose file, we click on there and we browse to the desktop. There's my projects Epix 002. If I now press open, you can see it's launched the file here. If I now press add job, we can see now that the screen has refreshed and we've got a yellow bar at the top here that says 5 jobs imported. And we can now see that the 5 jobs are listed here with the descriptions, trades and the priorities and the dates that we included in our spreadsheet. And so to continue creating this, we would just simply scroll to the top right hand side, press continue and continue again to save our project. And when we click into our project sheet, we scroll down here now to the project jobs, we can see that we've got the project jobs here as per the file. So the file that you're looking at now is a second example, and this is a monthly maintenance visit. So of course we do have the Raxam's scheduling system for asset management where you can do scheduling of visits, but we have got some customers also using our project tool to manage the monthly or indeed weekly or daily checks that go on at some of the sites. So I've just made this simple by showing it as a monthly one, so it's a smaller list. So all I've done is I've created 12 jobs in sequence order by month for the monthly maintenance visits. I've got our contract, I've got our trade, and I've got our estimated time to complete. Because it's a maintenance visit, it doesn't need to be attended on a certain time, but it does require to be completed at the end of the month. I have, however, if we scroll to the right, included an SOR code. So this is a sales code that I want to show on every job because this is a pre-agreed maintenance visit where the visit will cost £500. So I've added this to my SOR code for ppm, quantity 1 where the description is the monthly maintenance fee, and our rate. Of course, if this changed, we could change the rate down here. You could also apply different ones. So if you had a quarterly rate, you could remove certain lines and only show them on the months where you want to invoice the client. So of course we save this as a CSV file and we go over to our system where we've already got our project created, and we can now import our jobs. Another way of getting a file onto the browser, in case you didn't already know this one, is to find the file and then simply pick it up and place it over there. We now press add job. That is now created in the system the 12 jobs. Here they are. And if I just click into one of them to show you the job sheet, what we'll see in here is a estimated value. And if we scroll down to the sales lines, that's because there is a ordered value of 1 for the monthly maintenance fee. So a ordered quantity of 1 for £500. Now the project itself has already been created. So if I click here and I scroll down to our financial section, this particular project is estimated at £6,000, and that's because if we click on our project jobs, we can see that each of these jobs is worth £500 each. So every time we complete one of these jobs, that will then feed into this one here. I hope you found that useful. The project job importer is a really handy way of getting loads of jobs into a project without having to manually type them. So it's ideal for those situations where you do the same structure of project over and over again but for a different client, and also where the dates change. You can administer the spreadsheet quite easily using some formulas if you want to. I'm sure you can come up with your own template ideas, but as long as they match the templates in the end that we require on the import, and then you import them to that project, it could save you a lot of time. So I hope you found that useful. Any questions at all on that, please don't hesitate to ask.